brighter light. Inner circles here where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. Inner Circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, good people. Thank you for joining us tonight. Today is Thursday, August 28th. And tonight's a special night in our Liberian community. When you get a PhD, suddenly your name changes, so there's no more like Dr. Saah, there's no more like we call him Mesa, JD, Jackson, however we call him. But from today on, even his parents will call him doctor. Please pass me that rice or please do something. So we are going to have fun tonight, folks. But let us not forget why we are here, right? To honor someone who humility matches his accomplishment, whose success belongs to all of us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. J.D. Kpakar. Or Dr. Saah J.D. Kpakar. Dr. Kpakar, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So, man, folks, you can join the conversation tonight by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 952-594-5154. If you have any question for Dr. Kpakar, how he got to his PhD journey, how he, all of those fun things. But tonight, so tonight's a special night, especially here in Osaka. It's a special night for us. It's going to be a special weekend for us. So, also before we get into things, my co-host Miss B is going to be joining me here and stuff like that. But also, please, it's a growing movement, growing community. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Twitter or X, LinkedIn, everywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. We are all over TikTok. We're trying to grow this community and bring folks like this on here, knowledgeable, someone who's accomplished a lot. So thank you so much for joining us. But Dr. Kpakar, welcome to the show. First of all, tell us a little bit about your journey. I know how you got here, right? Yeah, especially your PhD journey, right? Your doctoral journey. How did you get here?
I'd like to say first, thanks for the invitation, and it's a pleasure to be on this show.
Mhm.
My journey has been one that resembles just the journey of any immigrant, a journey that is deeply vested in faith, a journey that is based on resilience, and a journey that is based on hard work. Getting to do a PhD has been something of a dream from childhood, right? I would say.
Mhm.
However, that dream was challenged as I grew up in Liberia. The civil crisis in Liberia created some challenge for my dream. I started my first degree came at the University of Liberia, where it took me about 10 years to pursue my first bachelor's degree. Fast forward, coming to the US, aggressively pursue my dreams, my desire, as it relates to my intent to obtain a PhD.
Mhm.
It has been one that I've included both uh, finding the balance in terms of being a parent, a full-time parent, a dad, and being a husband as well, and additionally have to provide for your family. So I've been in the mix of balancing that. And the pursuit of a PhD came upon getting your master's degree, of course, and then subsequently going to do your PhD, which an experience that I can explain in more detail. So I started off as a student going to class, driving to class. Came the pandemic that created a new challenge, and I had to do the rest of my studies online.
Mm,
But it has been one that has been motivational, right, in terms of having a desire to pursue, but most importantly, having a community that pushes you. And I'll talk more about how the community motivated me. When I speak about community, I speak about my friends, I speak about organizations, I
mhm.
speak about other mentors that I have along the way.
When you look at, I know this weekend, obviously, 2 weeks ago, that's when you want, that's when you walk down that stage, to receive your diploma. And then, but when you look at this weekend, already this weekend is where you're gonna celebrate the community, and then the team there is, your journey, our story. Why that team? Why did you? Is it my journey, our story? Why did you, choose that team?
Yeah, our first start with our story is our story because in Africa, we have a saying that it takes a village to raise a child,
Okay.
right?
Mm,
So it took a village to raise me to who I am today. There are so many people that have contributed
mm,
to my personal success, to my personal journey, and my personal achievement, right?
mm,
So
mhm,
I believe that even though it's my achievement, even though it's
mhm,
my personal journey, but the
mhm,
story belongs to everybody, right?
mm, mhm.
Everybody can come in to have a part to play in this story. There
Okay.
were I came up from an impoverished background, right? My
Mhm,
dad,
mhm.
both my mom and my dad did not have formal education. In the
Okay.
Liberian setting, was my mom would sell kobo, my dad would drive taxi, right?
Okay. Okay.
And then for them to be able to develop not just me, but to develop that kid for all of them to earn at least a bachelor degree, and with me earning a PhD speaks volume that even though it's mind journey, but it's our story. It's our
Okay.
story in that I see a lot of Liberians taking pride in coming to celebrate this unique experience.
Okay, okay. Um, what was the hardest moment on your journey to obtain your a PhD, right? And I mean, what kept you going, right? Some people, as I said, like I would tell you here, man, right after my 4 year degree, I said, man, the education 2 year, it's not my thing. I mean, but what kept you going, right? As I said, your bachelor's degree, master's degree, and then PhD. What kept you going, and what was the hardest moment along that journey?
Yeah, I'll say what kept me going is my own intrinsic motivation, right?
Mm-hmm,
Growing up as a child,
mm-hmm,
learning has been something I've been passionate as it relates to what I intend to do.
mm-hmm,
But again, I'll give you this story. I pursued a PhD because of my dad, right? I remember several years ago when I
mm-hmm,
was graduating from, I think I was leaving from one class to another in the school year I just ended, and my dad came in. I think it was in the sixth grade or seventh grade,
mm-hmm,
and I believe I was among the top three students in the class. And when my dad came at the program, after they called my name, I left from stage and I was coming down. And he walked to me. At the time, he was more stronger. He lifted me up in the air and said, "Congratulations, Dr. Parker." I think I was at the age of 12 or
mm-hmm,
13.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Dad, you got all the girls around here. I don't want, you got to put me down quick, right?" Since, since that day, my dad always called me Dr. Parker. And
Mm,
the more he continued to pronounce the word Dr. Parker, I felt like, oh, this is something that is doable, right?
mm, mhm,
So what got me excited about even this coming weekend is that
mhm,
my dad, my mom, my family will be present, right, to
yeah,
celebrate this unique movement. So that's been something of a motivation, in addition to motivation from my family, from my kids, my spouse, and other people who've been pushing me.
okay,
Also, the hardest moment has been how to balance family, to balance education, balance work, and also ensure that you keep pursuing your fundamental dream. Because you got to remember, you got to stay as a husband, you got to be
yeah,
a dad.
yeah,
And when I started my first semester, it was the time my son was just born, right?
okay, okay,
And I remember that semester I had to go on campus.
yeah,
I had to make the unique choice between being a student and
mhm,
being a father. But
mhm,
fortunately, we had good instructors who are willing to ensure that they kept the balance and motivated us. So the hardest moment has been just finding that balance in wanting to do what your responsibility as a parent, your responsibility as a spouse, and also your focus to ensure that you earn your goals and objectives.
Was there any moment along this journey, right? Especially like I said, trying to balance family, trying to balance every other priority. You also have to earn an income. Was there any moment along this journey where you felt like giving up? You felt like, you know what? I mean, it's like I know I want to do this. I know my dad, expect this of me. He's motivating me. But was there any moment where you felt like giving up?
Yeah, there were a lot of moments, there were a lot of
Mm,
times I felt like giving up.
mm,
Sometimes when I'm driving on the road, going to Grand Forks, North Dakota, about 4.5 hour drive,
sure.
I'm driving alone. I'm asking myself, is this worth it? Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes driving through the snow, driving during the summer, I'm asking myself, is it worth it? But there's
Hmm.
this prime moment that I always reflected on.
Hmm.
Uh, I remember I just went to the hospital. I was scheduled for a surgery, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when I was scheduled for a surgery, that same time, I also had to complete my comprehensive exam, right?
Wow. Okay.
I had to find a balance, right?
Hmm.
And I spoke to my committee at the time and told them I have medical issues. I
Hmm.
would not be able to complete.
Hmm.
But interestingly, I had to make sure that I complete before going to do my surgery, or when I come out of the surgery, immediately I have to focus on my comprehensive exam.
Sure.
So
Sure.
the balance between the comp, the school, my health, and I asked myself, do I really want to do this? I already
Yeah.
have three. I got two bachelor's degrees, three master's degree. I got a job. It's
Hmm.
awarded, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I was dedicated. I was focused. I
Hmm.
make sure I put in a lot of time before the surgery to
Hmm.
complete a lot, almost 90% of the work, and
Hmm.
post surgery I was able to do it. So that was one challenging moment for me.
If you could go back, when you first started this journey to talk to yourself at the very start of this journey, what advice will you give yourself when you started this PhD journey? What advice, if you could go back to that time, when you register, say, you know what, I want to do this. If you go back in that time and talk to yourself, what advice will you give yourself?
I would say don't be married, don't have kids, just go for your PhD.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kidding with that. The primary advice I would give is that be purposeful, be
Mm,
intentional, right?
mm, mhm,
Believe in what you intend to achieve, right?
mhm, mhm,
Because if you're not purposeful, if you're not intentional about your goals and objective as it relates to earning your PhD,
mhm,
you will not be able to achieve it. The next thing you have to know that is that it takes sacrifice, right?
mm,
There are a
mhm.
lot of times I lost sleep. A lot of time I lost sleep writing my dissertation, writing papers, because PhD is all about research and writing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say my advice to myself would be self-motivated, be self-driven.
Mhm.
Nobody understand the pursuit of a PhD other than the candidate himself or herself.
Okay. Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are talking to Dr. J.D. Kpakar. He just obtained his PhD. It's been a long journey. It's been a success. Like, it's a for me, it's like, the inner circle family is proud of the accomplishment, or the community is proud of the accomplishment. So tonight, folks, we are discussing his journey. It's our story, the lesson that he learned, along the way. So again, you can contribute to the conversation. We have a question or comment, put in the chat, or call our number 952-594-5154. But when it comes to education, first of all, for the immigrant community, especially Liberians, we love education, and things like that. But as a Liberian immigrant, as an immigrant, what does it mean to you personally, right? To come, a lot of Liberians come to settle. A lot of, even though we love education, but a lot of us come here, we settle, right? It's like, okay, we get a little job, any other income, and then you know what? That's it for me. But what does it mean to you personally as an immigrant and as a Liberian to accomplish this?
I take pride in it, right? As an
Mm-hmm.
immigrant, I take
Mm-hmm.
pride in it as a Liberian, and I
Mm-hmm.
want the community to take pride in it, right?
Okay. Okay.
And that is exactly why I'm ensuring that the celebration includes the community.
Mm-hmm.
And mine, my journey is a journey that resembles that of almost any immigrant, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
only difference is that you have to be motivated to go after your dreams. You have to ensure that you put in the time, you
Mm-hmm.
put in the work, and
Mm-hmm.
you are committed to the cause,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as it relates to where I stand right now, I believe any immigrant could do it that have the opportunity to do it, right? I
Mm.
encourage people to maximize the resources that is available in the US, right?
Okay.
Do
Okay.
not underrate yourself. Believe that you can achieve anything you want to achieve once you are committed to it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your journey will be personal, but your achievement and your success will be celebrated not just by you, but by those around you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to pursue a PhD or to pursue any degree for that matter, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
requires consistency. It requires being intentional about what you want to achieve, and at the same time asking yourself, when I get this education, what am I going to do with it? Is it going
Okay.
to impact the community? Is it going to impact society in different ways? So you have to make sure that you establish those key ground rules for yourself and motivational factors that will ensure that you can continue on the path you want to continue.
I mean, you mentioned resiliency, consistency. Those are things we have discussed many times on this platform. Our people struggle with. I mean, so what message? Can they? I mean, how they will be wondering, man, what other men talk. I mean, what that Kpakar is talking about tonight. He think it's easy, but it's not easy, right? So, what would be your message to them? You say, hey, man, I know no, it's not easy, but you can get it. In terms of consistency, in terms of being intentional. How can our community, because we struggle with that, we struggle with consistency, we struggle with being intentional. How did you overcome that? Because I say it's a struggle in our community. How did you overcome that to be so intentional and consistent with especially your PhD journey?
Yeah, I'll even reflect far back when I was at the University of Minnesota pursuing my second bachelor's degree. I
Mm,
remember I was doing this course and I was actually underperforming in the course,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I struggled because at the time just came from Africa, entering into school in the US.
Hmm.
It's two
Hmm.
different institutions. Few things I struggled with. One was the ability to understand American educational system, right?
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
demand put on student as it relates to what you want to pursue. There is this feel there is this fake fallacy that talk about American schools are easy, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you come to the US and start to pursue American education, you're
Hmm.
like, no, that's not possible, right?
Yeah.
So when I was struggling and underperforming in the course I'm talking about, what I did, I had to seek help, right?
Mm,
I
hmm.
contacted my advisor. I said I'm struggling. And what I realized at that time was that I was struggling because of procrastination. I was not used to keeping deadline. I was not used to self-checking myself. And this guy interestingly gave me, there was a course at the University of Minnesota that focuses on just avoiding procrastination. And I went through
Mm,
that one credit course, right?
mm, okay.
It
Okay.
helped me to keep deadline. It helped me to plan. It helped me to set academic goals. And even I brought that into my professional life, right?
Mm,
So
okay.
what I'm saying for short is that immigrants should be able to seek resources. I,
Yeah.
I said yesterday as a professor as well, a
Mm.
lot of universities have resources on campus that will keep you motivated and entrenched in pursuing your academic goals at the same time developing yourself professionally.
Man, I think you should probably reach out to your professor at the University of Minnesota to see whether you can bring that procrastination class, right? And teach it, and teach it, and teach it as a development, as a developmental course in our community. Because I think we all
Yes,
need that, right? Is that yeah,
yes,
we all need, we all need that. And I think probably I mean on this platform we talk about building wealth and things like that. I think that would even help us. I think that would help us a lot,
yeah.
to what I mean, to get there. But I mean, that's an interesting one. So, my co-host Miss B, thanks for joining this conversation, celebrating Dr. Parker tonight, going through his journey. So, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Miss B, and let me just enjoy and bask in this
Mm.
idea that I have a friend who I can call Doctor. Doctor.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm sure you get it all the time because what lady doesn't like to say doctor?
Oh, whoa.
Thank you.
Oh, whoa. I
There's
see.
just something about that, something different. You can say
Mm,
Dr. JD.
mm.
But anyways,
Okay.
congratulations, congratulations. That is such a
Thank you.
huge accomplishment, and the celebration shall be going on endless.
Thank
not
you.
just this weekend, but I'm sure for the next year or so, it's going to be just like celebrating what you did and what you have accomplished. That's huge.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And first of all, right, just to the celebration quiz, saying you want to bring some stuff. Yeah, there is a beginning of the celebration. There's a serious part of the celebration the whole weekend, right? There's a serious part we do here tonight, and then tomorrow, the entire community is going to be at Jumbo. Okay, just what I mean, yeah, Jumbo nightclub, and then Saturday all day we're going to be playing basketball and foot and soccer, as they call it. Across the ocean, basketball and soccer. And then from there, we're going to Purple Rose for meet and greet. Okay, meet and greet. And then Sunday comes as the all black tie event. That's when now the name you calling the man, all the ladies gonna be doctor.
There's some little holes in the walls saying we're going to be celebrating have not been mentioned in this itinerary. So, got some VIP spots in this itinerary. I guess that shall not be mentioned tonight. I'm sorry, y'all, but I know where those locations are. Y'all will not be there.
Okay. So that's it. So it's gonna be a long weekend, folks. And then Monday is what farewell barbecue from all those from everybody that come in from around the world. Because man, when a loafer man get a PhD, the plenty like consi. They are get Chinese people. So when a loafer man get a PhD, all the loafer people gotta show up to celebrate. So that's what I mean and stuff like that. So Minnesota is gonna be popping this weekend, I'm sure. On our entertainment segment will be definitely recounting this weekend, because it's gonna be popping, it's gonna be late, so but that's it there, right? That's the schedule. So anybody listening, hey, the flyers are out there, they are on social media, the organizers, everybody doing their thing. The madam is working hard to make sure the actor have maximum fun. But Dr. Kpakar, man, how, getting back to the serious part, right? Your cultural background, right? How did your cultural background shape, the way you approach your studies? And I know PhD requires research, right? How your cultural background shaped that?
I would say by extension, not just my culture, but my faith, right? And sometimes when I remember when I was driving towards Fargo, not Fargo, Grand Forks, driving 4.5 hours, all I would do is sometimes play gospel music, right? And I would say to myself, sing to myself, I've come this far by faith, right? And to pursue such a dream, you need to have faith in God and also faith in yourself. And culturally, I was raised by parents who are very traditional, especially my mom, right? She was very traditional. She will make sure that uh, when you are given a tax, you have to achieve the tax, right? And there were times I thought she was performing magic, right? My mom, as I said earlier, my mom never had formal education. My dad never had formal education. When I was back in elementary school, sometime even in junior high school, you would come home, you took your homework, you're doing your homework, and she come and sees it and she said, "Oh, you got this wrong." And you take that homework to your study class teacher, and your study class teacher will tell you you got it wrong, right? And I'll be amazed by how did she figure out that I messed up or I screwed up somehow, right? But what she was trying to teach us was that even though you believe in yourself, you always have to make sure you double check what you do, right? And my parents always told us that we don't have the bank account to provide to you. The only thing we can give you is your education, and you must take pride in pursuit of your education. And I grew up hungry for knowledge, right? I remember growing up as a little boy would be walking down the beach on 20th Street in Cinco. My friends and I will go play soccer, and other guys then will be playing football on the beach. And somewhere, somehow, my copybook would be in my pocket, hidden somewhere. I would lost from the crowd and go and sit somewhere just to read my books to make sure, because all I wanted to do was to be the deuce of the class, right? And so that's been a traditional heritage that I encountered on my own, right? But relative to what my parents instilled in me is the aspect of being disciplined. And I'm also fortunate to be raised by the Salvation Army, right? During the Civil War in Liberia, I was raised by the Salvation Army missionaries from Great Britain, right? They took us in. A lot of boys that were exposed to the war that could be potential child soldiers. They gave us safety. And they give us Christian doctrine. And that British man wanted to make sure that we achieve everything we needed to achieve. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud to say this. I did not even go to a club until I was like maybe 25, 26, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
everything you had to do was to make sure you are on your books, you follow your Christian doctrine, and you remain committed to serving your community.
So is that why you love so much party and club these days? Because you didn't go to club until you were
You
25.
was deprived.
Just best, yeah, best
Yeah,
way you have that.
I had to make sure I consume what I lost.
And the other question I was gonna say, oh, but how you ended up being friends with the Inner Circle podcast host?
Okay.
That's a
You see,
story for another day.
she's trying to throw a bit tonight, but I'm not gonna take it right. Tonight the focus will be on Dr. Parker, Dr. JD Parker, so she's trying to throw a bit. But I mean getting back to that though, right? Where in that you were like a lot of people, especially the community, even like people grew up, a lot of people grew up hungry for so many other things, be it Miss B alluding to be it having fun, be it having maybe so many girlfriends or whatever, right? Be it you know what I mean, or like maybe the pursuit of money or whatever. What was it about you that you said, man, like I'm always about education that you're so hungry for?
uh, I would say my current state of life at the time, right? As I
Mm,
said, I
mm,
grew up in a very impoverished family, right? My mom
mm,
selling kobo, my dad driving taxis. Sometimes we went to bed hungry, right? Or sometimes you only have one meal a day, and living less than maybe $2 a day, right?
mm, mm,
And the more I saw my mom struggle, the more I saw, and I'll give this story, right? When I graduated from high school, I was a class valedictorian, right? I went on campus, everybody was excited. They were announcing the top students in the class, and the principal came to me and said, congratulations, you are the valedictorian. And everybody else going home excited, planning party. I came home, my mom looked me in the face and said, it's going to be a struggle to plan your graduation party. We don't have the finances to do this. And I sat there and said, and I watched her one time. She went into her room, took her best leopard suit, and was trying to go and give it to her friend to be able to get money to do it. And I said, Mom, you cannot do that. Right?
Mm.
Imagine just being 17, 18 year old, seeing your mom trying to do that. And I said to myself, if she believes so much in education that she want me to take pride and celebrate this unique movement, I need to make sure I do everything I can to make her proud. Right.
mm, mm,
And my alarm clock when I was growing up used to be my mother, right? I would be sleeping sometimes. I would study from 6 p.m. up to 6 a.m. I would do that as a young person. I took it for fun. And there was time I would be tired. I said, Mom, can you wake me up at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock? And I kid you not, she would knock on my door and said, it's time for you to wake up, and then get you a candle, get you a lantern and something to set it. So uh, I took a lot of pride from my parents, right, in believing that education is something that you can pursue, and their upbringing and that training has guided me to where I am today.
um SB, any question from you? We got a lot for the men tonight.
What was the trajectory? You graduate in Liberia. What do you do there? What do you do here to now just be getting your doctorate degree?
Yeah, so back in Liberia, I graduated from high school, Lamela High School, and then I went to the University of Liberia, and that was a very interesting dynamics, right?
Mm.
When I entered the UL, my focus was to enter and graduate, but Liberia was challenged by the Civil War. It took me 10 years to complete a bachelor's degree, right?
Mm.
But during those 10 years, I had exceptional growth, I would say at the same time. I was engaged in student politics, even though I'm a little quiet. I was engaged in academic excellence in terms of going to school because what we did, because the struggle was really tough, what will happen is that we the smart guys when we go to school will have to study 3 times more than the other students, right? And then when you prepare well, I was doing accounting, I will go and conduct tutorial on campus. And especially the females, right? They will come in, give you your $10, give you your $5. You got your gas, you got your food for the day. You can go student center 404 and grab something to eat, right? So along the way, for those 10 years, I saw a different part of myself growing, not just as an individual, but growing to understand the dynamics of life and to understand the essence of persistence and resilience. Fast forward, came to the US. God blessed me with a wife, and she brought me to the US. When I came here 17 years ago, before coming here, I was working as a project accountant with Lace. We're implementing World Bank projects. When I came to the US, reality hit me. The first job I could get, it was during a Great Recession. The first job I got was working as a housekeeper at Northridge. And then I also did job at a cashier at Walmart. And as I went through this job, I said to myself, I had to find different path in America, right? So being challenged by my wife, being challenged by family, I decided to go and pursue education. The first time I went at the University of Minnesota, just sitting in a classroom looking at the lab, I felt like I was in a little heaven, right? And I said, wow, if I have all this opportunity, I think I'm going to be so hungry for it that I will pursue it to the very end, right? And I always scared that if I know how a wife or a family, I might be going for my third PhD at this time, but it's time to live. It's time to experience life in different ways and bring up tomorrow's leaders.
I think also, yeah, I
I'm just wondering, did anybody influence where you went for school, or what influenced that decision as far as what university you chose to start your journey at?
Yeah, there were a lot of influence. My spouse was one of the major influence. She wanted to make sure that I attend brand name school, attend a well accredited institution, right? And then also remember, and I have to be a little emotional about this. The pursuit of a PhD, my late friend who passed away 2 years ago, Sergeant Haji Kamara, may so rest in peace. I was applying for my PhD at the University of North Dakota and at St. Cloud State University. And then when I put in the application, I was like, I do not want to be driving all the way University of North Dakota. I'm gonna go and be driving. St. Cloud is right there. It's instant. It's okay. And we're on a three-way phone call. It was me, the late Haji, and one of my close friends called Balakova. And we're arguing. I told the guys I'm going to St. Cloud, and the two of them said they said to me straight on the phone, there is no way you can go to St. Cloud. You have to go to University of North Dakota. And we argue like we had, men ego. And I said, it's my pursuit of academic excellence. And Balakima and said, I've already researched University of North Dakota. It's one of the top schools. You are going to University of North Dakota, right? So those little moments, right? I still reflect on them today, and sometimes I wish his presence was here as I celebrate this day, because he was, I would say, my best friend at the time. So the pursuit of academic excellence is not just influenced by your self motivation. You have people around you who will always inspire you to do things that you don't even see within yourself.
okay. I think on Sunday your lovely wife, will make her the MVP. Will make her the MVP because some women bring their men in here. They get in some kind of live village or the talent down, or they lock them up, and your own bro, she say, I want you to get PhD. So I think she's a
Oh,
real MVP.
I got this joke. I got to tell you, right? What most of
Okay,
my friends would say,
go
it
ahead.
says, Sa wife brought him to America and put him in a house and said to him, every year, the only time you come outside is when you get 1 degree, right? So, after having, I would say, 6 different degrees, it's like, oh God. And when you hear
Wow.
those jokes, you're like, oh, so they're talking about me this way. I said that people say you're having a hostage for academic excellence, so take it positive and just chill a little bit. But she's been a motivation. I appreciate her for that.
Praise God. Ladies, you hear that? It's okay to invest in your man's degree.
Yeah.
And investing looks so many different kind of ways, but his wife was a big part, intricate part of his success. And thanks for championing her here today as well.
And
Absolutely.
not only investing in success, right? Education or whatever you can invest in it. Don't bring a man here and can't do certain quality business here all day. You're arguing around here. Don't do that. Bring your man here and let him grow, right? And bring your partner here and let them grow and invest in them. Don't say, "Oh, I bring you to America. I want you to grow," right? So kudos to your wife. She's a real MVP here and stuff like that. So, but all joke aside, right? What responsibility, if any, right, comes to being a role model to younger immigrants, who see you as a proof that obtaining a PhD can be done? What responsibility does that come with?
It comes with a lot of responsibility, right? It
Mhm,
comes with your personal desire to wanting to give back to the community, right?
mhm,
I grew up in a community environment.
mhm,
As I said earlier, a very impoverished community where we rely on one another, right? As little boys in my teens, we hustle, right? We go
mhm,
out, look for food. Somebody get rice, somebody get beans, somebody get this. We do our JBC as we call it, and find something to eat, right? And at the time, we're looking up to other people, right? And one of my uncles will be speaking on Sunday.
mhm,
He's a reverend, has a church in Colorado, and he was an engineer at the time, and I always look up to him as somebody who could be a role model for me. Right? There were times when my mom could not afford school fees. He and his wife would step in and be able to provide resources for us to educate ourselves. And
mhm,
every time I watch his life as he grows and develop, I always said to myself, "Oh, I can be my uncle sometimes, right?" And today
mhm,
I'm glad that using his image, I follow his footsteps. And it's my time to make sure that I give back to the community, and that I've been doing in so many ways. While I'm working with the Center for African Immigrant Seeker, providing resources to immigrants to be able to get job, to be able to get skill set and match their qualifications, and also being able to be a teacher or professor in a community college. When started teaching in America, I started teaching in at St. Mary's in a graduate school program. And while at St. Mary's, I enjoy teaching. I enjoy teaching adults. I was teaching the master's program. Those are people that already read it. I did not find self-fulfillment,
Mm.
right? So I sat to myself and started to recall because I started teaching in Liberia at a YMCA run computer school that was responsible for rehabilitating child soldiers from the war, right? So at that school, it gave me self-fulfillment that I was transforming lives to become positive individuals in society. Even up to the point that when I came to the US after I got through with the program, I was receiving text messages or email from students saying, "Oh, I'm a computer engineer, I'm a computer analyst." And that brought me a lot of fulfillment. So that's why brought me to the community college to teach, because there I know I'm self-fulfilled, I'm doing something positive. But it has a lot of responsibility as well, right? I receive calls from moms, from single mothers, from fathers, from parents. "Oh, your nephew don't know what to do in college. Oh, can you help us how we apply for financial aid?" And I enjoy doing those, right? Because there are times I'm home, uh, my nephews will come and sit down with me. We talk about college. We talk about being driven. So those are things that I enjoy doing and just motivating individuals in the society.
So now that you have reached this milestone, right, PhD, I know probably knowing you, maybe you might go get another one, but all joke aside, now that you have reached the milestone, right, what does moving for, how does moving forward look to you, right? Moving forward, how does that look to you?
Not doing another PhD.
Okay,
Let's start with that.
okay.
Uh, Moving forward for me means looking at the future, and the future is no longer dependent on me. The future is dependent on those behind us, our
Mm.
kids, our young people. And moving forward to me mean how can we be intentional about being present to make sure that we provide a pathway to guide our young people. What is through mentoring, what
Mm.
is through creating educational programs, right? What is
Mhm.
through just public speaking, or even just walking in the park and seeing a kid who look lost and talking to them and trying to console them. That's what moving forward mean for me. So I'm going to take a break for at least a year. I intend to write a book titled "My Journey, Our Story." Right.
Mm.
I already have my title, so that's why I'm going to be. That's going to be a 2 or 3 year project. So those are things I want to do. I might get into full academic research. I'm still taking my pathway, but for now, as the kids said, daddy just chill for now, right? So I'm just gonna relax and see what I want to do in the next few years.
I say, folks, with that,
So
right? My journey, Miss B, let me just plug this in here. I said, my journey, our story, that's what lesson from a PhD graduate. So we have Dr. Kpakar in the studio tonight, Dr. J.D. Kpakar in studio tonight. As a mentioned, right? Even going to write a book about our title tonight, My Journey, our story, right? He's telling us about his journey. So you can contribute to the conversation here tonight. It's a great conversation. I'm enjoying it. I mean, anytime I come on the platform, I learn a lot. So contribute, calling our number 952-594-5154. Or put a comment in the chat. Miss B, sorry, go ahead.
no, I mean, all of that is great. I'm excited about the book. I look forward to reading, publish it. Um, Besides the traditional 9 to 5, I mean, how else are we capitalizing on this degree, right? We're dealing with a generation that are very entrepreneurship heavy, right? We're still telling them to go to school and get a foundation, right? And that's what we're hoping this degree will be, just a foundation. It's the beginning to growing themselves. How do you monetize this now that you have this degree? What are some of the business type ways in which you can utilize it?
You need to be a friend of. You need to be a friend of my wife. That's one question she asked me. You do so much for the community. How are you monetizing it, right? So again, growing up and being raised by missionaries, you sometimes have conflict in terms of what your true values or your goals are, right? Because you just want to be there. Who I did not know how my school fees were paid from elementary school up to high school, right? It was donors from different parts of the world that were doing it, right? But we now live in a more contemporary society where things are changing and changing fast. Another thing I tend to do, not for monetizing, but to do for the community is I'm working on establishing my own nonprofit called AfroPath, right? Creating pathway for African immigrants and also our children are here, where we'll be focusing on career development, we'll be focusing on economic empowerment and different things. I'm still putting ideas and thought process together. So there's a possibility I might leave the 9 to 5, but I'm not going to leave the classroom because that's where I believe I belong. So I'm looking into different aspects of life on how I can be more integrated into the community and be more systemic about providing resources for the community, whether it's mentoring, whether it's through public speaking and other engagement relative to the community.
I mean, Miss
And
B,
doing consultancy as well.
I mean, Miss B is like I say, yeah, we have business Wednesday, right? We have a business Wednesday. Yeah. So anytime we get somebody here, sometimes we just because we want to build generational wealth. Now you get all the PhD, yeah, we want to see whether there's millions of dollars in your bank account, not just the PhD. But anyway, just so
There's
you guys
already
know,
that anticipation that there's millions of
uh,
dollars already in my bank
nah,
account.
no,
You hold doctor,
people
man.
see all this better. So that's what Miss B telling you. Go and what I mean and stuff, right?
Yeah, I
Don't
might
just
be
do
relying on Miss B expertise for guidance at some point in time. So
don't
get
just
ready
Oh,
for a call.
don't just do pro bono work in the community all day. We know you're a missionary, but put that aside small. But anyway, how do you define success now, though, right? How do you define success now that you have, achieved a PhD, right?
yes,
Has it changed your perspective of success? How do you do, what is, what is success to Dr. Moka?
yes.
That's crazy. Success to me is hard to define because
Mm,
I don't believe in complacency, right?
mm,
Mm.
Whenever you get too complacent about a given achievement, you don't challenge yourself any longer, right? But that doesn't mean that you should not take pride in little or big accomplishment that you have. So success to me means overcoming challenges to accomplish strategic goals or personal goals, right? And when I was doing mine, I'll just pivot a little bit. When I was writing my dissertation, I had this fellow professor at North Hennepin who also had his PhD. And at the time, I just completed chapter 3, which when you do is a huge accomplishment in your PhD program. And he says, how's the PhD, how's your dissertation going? I said, it's going good. I'm done with chapter 3. I'm going towards chapter 4. He asked me, what did you do for yourself? I said, what do you mean? I'm still writing. He said, no, sir. What you have to do is to always provide a gift to yourself.
mm.
When you complete one chapter, even if you mean to go sit at a coffee shop and buy a nice Starbucks coffee that you say this one has to be prepared separately just for you, be able to give yourself gratification, right? So For me, once you have success along the way, I've overcome a lot of challenges, right? Came up from a poor family, grew up in the Civil War. I was a refugee for almost 7 to 8 years of my life, living from Liberia to Ghana to Guinea to Sierra Leone, navigating this path, coming to the US, living as an immigrant, going through systemic racism. So overcoming all of those barriers to achieve my goals today, I count those as success. But true success to me would mean if I can be able to leave a legacy that impacts tomorrow generation. My kids should be able to outperform me. Even though they told me that I should not raise the bar too high for them to get all the degrees, right? And people around me that I can influence, right? That I can make a change in the society. I know I've done a lot in the community. I've worked with people from making $10 an hour to people now making almost close to $150,000 just because of the influence, the mentorship. That's why I've been busy and make money out of it. That I've been doing for people and giving back to them. So success is just about overcoming your barriers, not having sympathy or empathy on yourself, but believing that you can achieve your goal. And when you do, you take a deep breath and you celebrate that we're going to do this weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, for the next 4 nights, beginning tonight, obviously, I said tonight's a serious spot. The community is going to be celebrating you, right? And, you're going to be celebrated. What are you going to be feeling? How's emotion going to be like? What are you going to be feeling in your heart, right? How's that emotion going to be like?
I, my fundamental quest is to remain humble,
Mm.
right? Achieving such an accomplishment is a thin line between pride and being humble, right? I want to make sure that nothing gets into my head. I want to make sure that I absorb the feelings that whatever is going to come from, right? And achieving this goal with my mom and my dad being alive, for me, that's just the greatest achievement I can ever get, right? That they will be
Mm.
present to see the hard work, the investment at the end of the day, that I'm standing right there with my kid being called Dr. Parker, right? And so the feeling I'm going to observe will be just a feeling of humility, right? Appreciation to the community because when I got this degree, when I told my spouse how I want to celebrate, I said I wanted to be a community celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota has been on the map for a lot of crazy things, right? So this one should be different. Let's come together and celebrate something unique, right? Well, what I want people to take away from that program is not to take away the fact that I earned a PhD. Is for a single mother, a father that is struggling and believe that I got 2, 3 kids I cannot go to school. I want them to believe in themselves. I pursued this degree with 3 kids. One of them, one of my kids, and maybe you know that being very close to me, have some impairment, right? That we struggle with disability, right? But through that, I'm able to smile through it. I want people to believe in themselves, to believe in the power of possible and not in the power of the impossible.
First of all, let me just tell folks, right? I know Minnesota is not just Satan and Collie. Minnesota is not just Gucci, then I be causing. They say, is anytime I travel, they say, that body Gucci, he be causing women there all the time, blah, blah, blah. I say, so tonight, we have somebody who got a PhD. We don't just be causing around here. That's what Minnesota is about. Minnesota guy who can produce lots and lots of good stuff. So, you shouldn't be telling us, say, we can produce that, we produce a lot of good stuff, right? That's the reason why, first of all, we have Inner Circle Podcast here, right? To feature the good stuff, not to feature what Shut Up About Them be featuring all that drama. We don't feature that. We don't feature all of that. So, so anyway, but I mean, I've been doing it for a while. Right? It's like uh, achieving what you have achieved and to remain humble, to be humble. It's sometimes like you don't find out your community, right? It's like when somebody have achieved maybe their PhD. When you talking when I may see someone, oh, is it you don't even want to be battle, but man, you are so approachable. You have humility. How do you stay grounded? Because sometimes, I said you and myself, some of this where we give each other a hard time, we joke and crack jokes, and a lot of people you interact with, some of us, as I said, will not get what the way you get, but you stay grounded, you stay approach. How do you stay grounded? Where did that humility come from?
I'll just say it comes from God, right? It has to be God that provides this kind of upbringing and training that I have today. And also my parents as well. In short, my dad used to be a very great disciplinarian, right?
Mhm.
He would not compromise, right? And most important, I would say, from the Salvation Army, those two British missionaries that came in the 90s and were able to rescue us and taught us, many boys, the power of being humble and the power of making sure that in the service of the community is not about you, it's about who is impacted and what the benefit from the contribution that you provide for them, right? So staying grounded for me is a personal goal, right? I'm a human. I will get angry. I will get mad. I do everything. By the end of the day, to whom much is given, much is also expected, right? I'm not just selected among the few to have a PhD today. It has to be the special grace of God. And because He
Mm.
gave me this grace, I have to make sure that I treat it with so much humility that people around me can see it, can sense it, and can be able to benefit from it.
Okay.
So I stay grounded based on my faith, based on my traditional and cultural upbringing, and also based on my belief that being humble, the weakest person in the room can sometimes be the strongest person in the room, right? You don't have to be the loudest, right? I've been in a situation in which I've been the most quiet person, but been the most powerful person, right?
Mhm.
So just learning those different attributes have been things that I've gotten me today.
Miss B.
So I know we're celebrating a doctor's degree, but for the laymen that are out there, the first thing when they think, oh, he's a medical doctor. You're not that type of doctor. So what type of doctor are you?
I'm a research doctor. I got my PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, right, in higher education, right. So I a lot of some I'll laugh with my friends sometimes. Say, "Oh, JD, you gotta come and give us surgery." I said, "No, I don't give surgery, but I'm producing students that will give surgery tomorrow, right."
Yes.
So the kind of data I am is Doctor of Philosophy in higher education, a research-based focus, right, where I did my dissertation on the motivations of African immigrant adult learners to attend community colleges in Minnesota. And I
Mm.
was able to produce, just 1 second.
Okay, folks. I said it's like
You're going to have a
okay.
copy of my dissertation.
Wow.
I printed 25 copies, so it's going to
Oh.
be, this is about 325
Oh my gosh.
pages. But it's gonna be all shown at the event. So I'll show if you will take care of that to make sure you gotta just think,
Wow.
yeah. So maybe Miss B can take care of ushering it for me. So I got 25 special copies for people to buy. So
Nice.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, folks, it said
And
the Mexican provides the Mexican perform surgery, but he can.
he has evidence of his brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just in here, you guys.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has produced it in a book for you. And that's just
Yeah.
the beginning. That's just a teaser.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, folks, there's a 1 hour show already. Doctor has been providing some great information. In the next 7 minutes, we'll be wrapping this up. And then man, it's been a good conversation though. The next thing I get for you is like, come to service versus status. I mean, in
Mm.
our community, you know what I mean? As I said, right, this advanced degree sometimes creates separation instead of connection, right? What have you why, knowing you as I said, you are ready into service and everything you have been here tonight is about service, service. Why has Dr. Parker chosen service over status?
Mm.
Yeah, I intentionally choose service over status because I believe there is strength even in those that may be underperforming or those that are down there. I grew up as a very poor person, right, in a very impoverished community. As I said earlier, in that community, nobody was rich. We are all equal. We come from school, there is no food. All of the boys going to make sure they find somewhere in a mom house to see whether there's rice somewhere, there's beans somewhere, there's oil. And we come together, we have from our moms and go and cook our JBC and enjoy ourselves and have fun. And as I continue to grow, I saw within myself that as I climb the ladder, I know there are people down there. I'm not going to look down upon them, right? It is my responsibility to throw my hand down in whatever way I can, protecting my own mental health to be able to help them accelerate and improve their life, right? So for me, it's really not about the title. And I think when we began friend a few years ago, AB, you're always like professor, professor, and I said no, just JD is enough because when I go to work, I mean, so the
Mhm.
professor. When I go
Mhm.
in a corporate environment, I'm meeting so high level people. I want to come among my people and just be ordinary, right? So you see, I'm in a lot of groups, right? Different groups, subgroup. People asking sometimes, why are you associating with this group? In the end, if somebody is not there to provide knowledge or provide a path to them, you expect them to continuously feel or go downhill, right? So some of us should be able to bury our pride, regardless of our status, regardless of our degree, and be able to achieve what we want to achieve. And I said this to you, when when death call you tomorrow, it's the ordinary people that'll be there to bury you. When my friend died 2 years ago, it was not his status that buried him. It was because he was integrated into those little groups. Those were the
Mhm.
people that came out to say, all hell, goodbye, brother. Right?
Mhm.
So we have to make sure that we serve whatever you do. Took out your title. Sometimes I go to work, I see people write John Brown, MBA. And I'm like, wow, if I just put
All those
JD,
letters.
MBA, MSc, MA, PhD, for me, those things, it really don't matter, right? But just being yourself, being humble, but make sure you're intentional about helping people. You don't have to provide the finances, but you can provide the pathway to help them get to where they want to go.
Okay, as we wrap this up, Miss B, last question from you or comment or anything to the doctor.
Doctor, I want to know all the triple letters. I want to know all the acronyms. List them in the order, please. You don't know what that does for people. Please.
All right, so it's Saah J.D. Kpakar, Master of Business Administration, MBA, Master of Arts in Educational Leadership, MA, Master of Science in Project Management, MSc, Doctor of Philosophy in Higher Education, PhD.
Wow.
The man make my head, my head is headed at the. Well, anyway, anyway, let's not gonna stop. As we wrap this up, folks, it's been a great conversation tonight, man. I mean, this man, if you know this man, he's a heavyweight. As I said, the education speaks for itself, but again, he's very humble. So my last question for you, Doctor, right, in terms of legacy, right? Let's assume everybody forget all your degrees you're listed here, Miss B asked you. Let's assume everybody forget those degrees. What do you want them to remember about Dr. Paka?
Two things. I want people to remember me as a good father, right? Somebody who
Mm,
shaped the future of his kids, somebody who
Mm.
helped them to prepare for the uncertainty and the challenges of our world, right? That's one. And two, I want people to remember me for somebody who contributed towards the growth of our community by providing knowledge and impacting knowledge into people, starting from working in Liberia as a software teacher at a rehabilitation camp for former child soldiers. So for me, that those would be my true legacy, right? My kids and my students that I'm impacting knowledge into that can be able to create a better society for all of us.
okay. Well, folks, you heard it from the man himself, right? The man, when you forget his degree, just remember him that he's a good father, he's a good family man. His wife brought him, they locked him up, and he got all those degrees. He has still committed to his family. He did not go wayward. Some people come here to go wayward. He did not go wayward. He has still committed. But what he wants for you guys to remember is commitment to his family, and then also you right giving back his service. But lastly, now I just want you to repeat all the celebration coming up because people want to know
Yes, let
our
that
community
itinerary
will love
flow.
our community will love for when I finish talking about the penny degree. So I said earlier, but people want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
The pre
Go
the pre the
go
prelude
through the
starts at home
itinerary.
tonight. The prelude starts at home tonight. I'll be on my Guinness or Stella or something. Just free my mind, right? This weekend is about freeing my mind. I was even trying to write a speech for Sunday, but I said to myself, no, I'm going to
Just
speak
let
from
it
my
flow.
heart, right? I'm going to flow freely. So tomorrow the official event starts at Domo, right? At about 10 p.m. The boys and the girls will start gathering. I got guests coming from all over America, from Atlanta, coming from Atlanta, from Colorado, from Pennsylvania, from New Jersey. They just want to come and just celebrate the moment. So they might be joining us, and then on Saturday we have sports events. We have, I appreciate the community for stepping up to honor me by having two separate sport events, one football and one basketball. So we'll be looking into that. Might play just 2 minutes of soccer, but play a lot of basketball because that's why I do a lot. And then in the evening, we're having a meet and greet or acquaintance. I try to call it acquaintance night, but one of my guys told me if you call it acquaintance, people will not understand what you're saying. So just make it simple. Call it meet and greet. So there's going to be meet and greet at Purple Rose where we're going to be meeting at about 8 p.m. and then take it through the rest of the night. And then on Sunday, obviously, I got to go to church, glorify God, give me His blessing, tell Him thank you for whatever He's done to bring me this far. And after that, on Sunday night at 6 p.m. at Bunker Lake, we're going to be having a grand celebration, the red carpet event, where we will celebrate not just me, but celebrate my family, celebrate those who have worked hard to make this day a success. And Monday, we'll have the farewell barbecue, and after that take my 1 year sabbatical from being an active learner to just being a professor in the classroom.
And there you have it, folks. If you can drink, come out this weekend. The local part, we're gonna be on the pool part. We're gonna be doing the celebration part. That's Minnesota style. You know what Minnesota celebrating, and we're celebrating your doctor. So Minnesota's gonna be late this weekend. So that's it, folks. But thank you so much, Dr. J.D. Kpakar. Folks, it's been a great conversation. My co-host has been your consistency, right? That's what Dr. Kpakar talked about it earlier. Always appreciate you being here, bringing that female flavor. So thank you so much, folks. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're not going to be here. We're going to be celebrating, but we'll see you back. We'll see you guys back here on Tuesday. So okay,
Good
you
night,
guys have a good night.
everyone.
Good night, folks. Yeah,
Thank
good
you,
night.
doctor.
Thank you.
Yeah.